Namaste, my loves. We will eventually take our seats together in about 3 minutes. And give yourself as much time as you need to find a comfortable seat. You know, some days are easier than others, right? And feel free to explore how you sit, where you sit, any support that you might need in your seat. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's funny how we can so easily go to the weather when we're seeking something to talk about. Hi, Mohammed. Oh, I miss you. Love you, love you. Happy Ramadan. We'll get started in a few minutes. Yeah, we often can go to the weather, right? To kind of have this collective share, right? Anybody that's local, it's a beautiful day. And the thing about noticing the weather is it's an indication of the moment, right? The current, right? The current conditions, right? So it's always nice to pay attention to the moment by way of weather, by way of light or their lack of. We happen to be blessed with a lot of light today, which just helps, right? Light helps. About 2 or 3 more minutes before we get going. Anyone tuning in for the first time, welcome. I'm happy to share space with you. I'm happy to see you in this new format, this new forum. And we'll be together to find some ground, to find some center, which we can use on any day. But hi, Drew. You know, ground is essential, clearly, right? And as spring starts to peak, it opens the eye and therefore perhaps the Western mind. And oh yeah, ground is where things grow. Ground is where I place myself, right? Two essentials. So we'll be using this time together, as we have been for over a month now, to find some ground and therefore center. Good morning, Heather. You know, and as I was saying, at any time, ground is essential to find, but especially during these, you know, highly peaked times where there is more dismay, right? We need to remind ourselves that the ground is still there. So let us begin tuning in. Breathe in. let's all take some time for gratitude. Counting one's blessings. Honoring the gifts that are there. Namaste. The other day I had a video chat with my God baby. This kind of newfound way of connecting and communicating, which I of course hate yet deeply now love at the same time. I'm so grateful, right? Just like I'm so grateful for this. This is how we do it, right? This is how we connect. So I had a video chat with my God baby who's now 7. And I always try to keep her as engaged as possible while we have these sessions together, these wraps together. One, to give her parents a bit of a break, and, to keep her juices flowing. She's, of course, pretty bored like all other young ones right now. So I asked her to look out the window and then draw a picture of what she saw. And I said, in great detail. She's a stickler for detail, so I made sure I put that part in. And, I sat patiently waiting for her. And, I got to see her eyes shift out to the window, and then a moment to kind of capture, a moment to kind of gather and collect the information from what she was seeing. And then, the pen to paper, the marker to blank canvas, and sketching in great detail everything that she saw, and the trees and the flowers and the birds. She caught the birds, etc. And there's a couple nice little metaphors that can come out of this experience. And one is to be able to really take time to see how somebody else sees, I think is an extraordinary lesson for each and every one of us, because it reminds us that we all have different interpretations. So that's probably part A, which can be quite essential, especially those of us that feel a bit more stubborn or rigid in our thoughts, or kind of adhere to these how we see it, right? It's kind of nice to see how somebody else sees. So that's part A. But I think perhaps more importantly, part B for us that are adults, right? For us that have been around for a while, especially in crisis, we might start to notice that our own eye could potentially get a little dull, right? That the window we're looking through and what we're seeing can be a little murky, right? Because things affect how we see, right? The way we're processing this great time of turmoil, right? It comes in and then kind of goes out again, and it can very much affect how we see. And I know for myself, I feel like I'm doing, pretty darn well thanks to this practice. I'm so incredibly grateful. But when I do notice that I have my moments of like, where I really start to lose it, they're usually connected to me not being able to see, the outcome of this experience, me not knowing what's coming next, like my urgency to feel physically connected to other humans, right, here at the space, or me going somewhere for a concert, like those yearnings, like when I start to get a little freaked, that's when they come up, like when, I want to know when, I want to see the outcome in its glory, right? And of course we have to really use deep internal awareness to maintain any state of like homeostasis, any state of centering, any state of ground, any state of peace, to ride out this kind of murky, void that we happen to be in, this sacred pause, essentially. But occasionally, right, as adults, as we attempt to filter all of this information as best we can, what we can see is just like the void. We want so desperately to see the birds and the trees and the sun, right? Yet, occasionally, hopefully not too often, when we look, what we see is a blank void, essentially some darkness that has no clarity or things that we like to latch on to, right? Like, life is still happening, right? Thank goodness what my 7-year-old god baby captured was life, you know, trees, grass, flowers, birds, right? That's still happening. And I can see that right through her eyes when I have a moment of, you know, blindness, if you will, right? So part of the work, if you care to be doing this work, is how to come back to a child's like eye, how to come back to the wide-eyed wonder of what is occurring beyond the void. Essentially, the void is a window. Essentially, the void is a window, right? And we're training ourselves, you know, how to see the light, how to create that beautiful illustration that is there, right? Not to create it, but how to see it, how to see the illustration of our existence, you know, beyond any moments of murkiness, you know? So anything that you might call, you know, work, anything that's helping you, anything that's resonating with you, whether it's a beautiful piece of music or sitting together amongst each other to find this ground and this center, running, doing the physical asana practice, doing breath work, they're all tools that are contributing, right? The contribution of clearing, so that we can dare, when we see occasionally, if we look out the window and we just see the kind of the blank void, right? The void within ourselves, the void outside, however it shows up, we can realize, you know, we can have the light bulb moment that that there's so much more there, you know. We're training ourselves in how to see. And when we see that void, to realize that it is very much a window, right? Windows are nice illustrations, nice suggestions of what's there, you know, of peeking in and really, really seeing. When you look through a window, right? Like it's opportunity, right? So this void that we're in is opportunity, right? This crisis is opportunity. And when we forget, we look to the children to remind us, right? See like a child. From a child's point of view, from a child's perspective. And breathe in. Feel free to adjust your seat in such a way that you gain connection to ground. And becoming aware of what is underneath you right now. What are you seated on? And getting a sense of the texture. And maybe even the temperature, right? The current condition that takes us into the moment. And see if you might encourage the physical form to sink and settle down into that ground, into that base line of support. And as you begin to settle the physical form, you might actually feel a sense of centeredness or a sense of okayness. And if your eyes are closed, that willingness to go inward, to pierce some light through that dark void. If you're familiar, consider shifting the gaze toward your third eye, the kaleidoscope of the mind, the turning on of inner light and inner awareness. Looking at the space just above the bridge of the nose. Well, if that feels too stressful and causing you too much strain, just skip it. Look into your heart. Start to bring your focus into your breath. Start to bring your breath into your focus. You soften through the rib cage, the diaphragm, and the side body. Notice the ribs as they expand on the inhale and as they contract on the exhale. Allowing this movement from the breath at the ribs kind of fan and fuel inner light within. Allowing that inner light that is becoming fanned and fueled by the grace and radiance of your breath to help you be okay in that inner void if it's occurring. The void of not knowing, the void of not being able to see. Let the light of your breath help you to turn that void into a beautiful window. The window of opportunity. The window of insight and awareness. The window of life. Thriving. And as you see it, I see it, perhaps different, yet the ability to see it. Empty the breath from the underbelly. And breathe in. Retain. Breathe out. Retain. And breathe in. Retain. And breathe out. retain. Breathe in. Retain. Breathe out. Retain. Breathe in. Retain. Breathe out. Retain. Release the lock. Let your breath go. Let your breath flow. Moving through the inner landscape of the self, perhaps lighting it up. Your willingness to sit inside any void that might be occurring as you kind of draw this beautiful internal landscape through the light of your breath. This inner state of vitality, this inner state of well-being, that we're going to be okay. Sit in the essence of your breath for a few more precious moments. When you're ready, float your eyes open. And just take your arms up and give them a shake. Releasing through your head, your fingers, your arms, your upper body. Loosening in such a way that the breath can't help but make it through. And then out in front. Up again. And out in front. Big inhale. Out through the mouth. Again. One more. Bring the hands to the heart. Locate the breath as it lives inside the belly of the self. Allowing this breath to illustrate, to come alive, to grow within you. And giving you the sustenance to handle any of those moments that feel a little murky and unclear, right? Allowing the void to be a window that makes us more curious, more awake, more tuned in to what might occur next, right? Breathe in. Oh. Namaste. If anyone cares to share, anybody that's been tuning in with us for a while, and how the breath exercise has been going, the retention, and if you're able to perhaps sit more air in than perhaps in the beginning, well over a month ago when we started. I'm just curious how it's been going for you. Of course, if anybody has questions on the breath work, jot it down and I will get back to you. If not in this moment, definitely by tomorrow. I'm here every day, and like I said in the beginning, this is just a sit, right? This is just a time for us to sit, to find our center, to find our ground, during these crazy times, right? And it is us coming together as collective, the human race, right? That is making this experience what it is, right? It appears to be just me here, but it is us, the collective, in this case, the virtual collective. So thank you for tuning in. If you care to have a physical practice with me, we'll be heading over to Zoom. Christina's placing the information there for you. Have the best day you can have. May you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be happy.